Kia ora and welcome to another episode of Rural New Zealand. I'm your host Scotty. Join me as we check out what's happening throughout Canterbury. Alrighty, on this week's episode, we meet a dairy farmer who is using good techniques with his winter grazing. We catch up with Federated farmers with an update on this year so far. I get some important advice from Harman Lawyers. But first I jumped in with Dave from Petroleum as we did some deliveries in mid-Canterbury. It was a cold winter's morning in Christchurch, and for a couple of years now I've always wondered how the fuel got from the main tankers in Woolston out to the rural communities. So I decided to jump in with Dave from Petroleum. Good morning Dave, how's it going?
How you going?
Oh,
Good.
I can't complain. The weather's not that flash, is it?
No, not too bad.
So what's on the agenda today for
Oh,
us?
I've just got a few farms to do. Yeah, a couple of farms and a contractor and enough to fill the day in. So.
Oh, sounds like a good day to me.
Yeah,
Should we jump in and head off?
Yeah. No, good as gold. Just
Right.
give the tyres a chunk.
Yeah. So Dave, every morning you come here to Woolston and fuel up. What are we chucking in the trucks today?
Just put a diesel this morning so we keep us going for the day.
And how many of the Allo fleet usually come here every morning?
Most of the Christchurch guys come in this morning and load up. So North Canterbury and Mid Canterbury guys, we've all got our own areas. So yeah.
Is it easier to come here to fuel up than over in Littleton?
Yeah, it's a lot quicker. Yeah.
So Dave, how do they actually get the fuel from Littleton to here?
They've got a pipeline that comes over the hill, so it's all pumped over. So yeah.
Do they transport any via truck as well, or not really?
No, it's all piped over. Keeps it busy 24 hours, 7 days a week.
Wow, must be a lot of fuel.
Yeah.
Our first delivery wasn't to a farm, but to a service station in Prebleton. Without Allied supplying these small petrol stations in the rural communities, a lot of them would have shut down. Sometimes the fuel station are the beating hearts of the rural communities. Over the busy summer months, keeping the contracting guys stocked with fuel was very important. So Tim, do you want to tell us a little about your business down here in Alisburn?
We run a contracting business based here in Southbridge. We've also got another yard at Rakaia. Our core business is baling. We also do cultivation, and we're involved with a larger dairy operation that we provide supplements for.
And how important is the delivery of fuel to your day-to-day operations?
It's absolutely vital. We have fantastic service from our driver Dave. He monitors the level of our tanks at the Rakaia yard and at the Southbridge yard, and whatever part of the time of the business or time of the season we're in, he keeps the amount of fuel up to our business with that in mind.
So that must be peace of mind having the tank always full?
It is. It's a great service, and we appreciate everything that especially our driver does for us.
And having Dave as the driver, is it nice to have that personal touch?
It's wonderful. Yeah, no, I really appreciate it. He's part of the group. And we make sure that he's welcome here all the time, and he's just part of the team.
So how long have you been driving for Allied for?
It's my 11th year.
Oh wow.
11th year, yeah.
You still enjoy it?
Yeah, good job, eh? Yep. Good to work for.
Yeah. Is it always what you wanted to do, driving trucks?
Yep.
Or?
Never ever wanted to do anything else. Believe it or not, ever since I was little.
Yeah.
As long as I can remember, I've always wanted to drive trucks. So yeah, it's not really a job when it's what you wanted to do.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, it must be a nice feeling hearing contractors and farmers and stuff talk about you in such a high regard, like as one of their friends. I mean, how many workplaces would say that about their employees?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. It's nice to be appreciated.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
And when you try and do your best, look after the customers, keep them going.
Yeah. And I've got to ask, have you ever run out of fuel yourself?
No, but I've been very, very, very close. Yeah. Yeah, that wouldn't look good.
No, exactly. The truck on the side of the road would never run out,
Yeah.
and he's running out. So what are you doing now, Dave?
I'm just going to dip the tank, see how much I can get in there.
Okay.
I don't normally keep it full this time of year, so just keep it at halfway sort of level.
Yeah.
So wait till summer and then it gets filled.
Yeah, I bet,
every week.
Yeah. Using it completely.
Yeah.
What's the verdict? How much do you reckon?
I'll get a couple thousand in there.
Oh, sounds like a plan.
Take it up to 6.
So with this thing here, you can precisely pull it how many litres you want.
Yep, I'll just punch in 2,000 litres and it'll count down. I'll ramp it up, pump it in, and I'll just slow it down before it gets to 2,000. But it'll stop. It'll count down at about 1990. It'll click off, but I'll just turn it down a little bit. It's a little bit easier on the gear.
Yeah. Technology, eh? Saves waiting around.
Yeah. So you just pumps that.
So what's the biggest sort of delivery you reckon you do?
This will be one of the biggest ones. Yeah, Ellesmere Transport. They use a lot of fuel. I'll go there twice a week. In the summer, I'm here once a week.
Yeah,
every Thursday. I normally fill him up. So
how much would that tanker hold?
It's
there?
15,000.
Oh wow.
Yeah, 14.5 safe full. So
yeah. And how many litres does this pump out a minute?
450.
Oh, there we go. Just a few. So we've nearly been here for a minute already. Look at that.
Yeah.
God, it's quick.
500 litres in there.
Yeah. How many litres can you hold of petrol and diesel? Or?
About 15,000 litres of diesel and about 16 of 91 is the legal load. So, but we can vary. I can put 91 on one compartment. But it's mainly diesel. Mainly do diesel and a little bit of 91 for farms, motorbikes and that.
So is that just in the truck or is that truck and trailer?
No, just in the truck.
Oh wow.
About 30,000 for a full load of diesel, truck and trailer.
Holy heck. I would have never thought it held that much. What kind of area do you sort of normally serve?
I've got my own boundary, so the main south road, probably Petroleum's the closest I do to town. Down the main south to Rakaia Bridge, all Selwyn, Ellesmere basically, Banks Peninsula, Leaston, Southbridge, Dunsandel, sort of. Yeah, we've all got our own territory, so it keeps us busy in the summer, that's for sure.
That wee electronic reader up there, what's that all about?
Oh, that's our left node. We've just got that on now, and I've got a tablet in the cab, and it's got like Ellesmere Ag for their level, how much is in the tank, so I can look at, know how much I'm going to get rid of and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's a great idea. It works real good.
And that'll let you know when it's sort of their tanks are getting low, and you'll be able to top them up.
Yeah. When it gets busy, like, I can keep an eye on it, and shit, they're nearly out, so so they don't run out.
Yeah, they never run out.
Never run out.
Isn't that your slogan?
Right. That's right. Yeah. So yeah, that's just another tool to keep everybody happy and keep everybody full when they need it. So, no, it's good.
Technology.
Well. Yeah, no, it's good. It's a good system.
Yeah. Have you always been driving fuel trucks, or have you been?
Yeah, probably for the last 15, 16, 17 years, I suppose.
Oh wow.
Been on tankers.
Yeah.
Gas tank, big gas tankers. Fuel tankers.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Dave, for showing us your job today.
Yep, no, good as gold.
Really enjoyed it. Now, I suppose you're off to do a few more loads, aren't you?
Yeah, I'll go and get another load now in town, so for the afternoon.
Yeah, hoping to see you on the road one day.
Yep, sure do.
Right. Cheers, thank you.
Bye, mate.
And just like that, Dave drove off into the sunset. Off to Woolston to pick up some more fuel to keep farmers and contractors going in the rural communities. It was great spending the day with Dave and seeing what he does in his day-to-day role. Alright, stay tuned, because on Rural New Zealand next we talk to Harman Lawyers and Federated farmers. See you then. Welcome back to Rural New Zealand. Now, life can be a mysterious thing and you just don't know what's around the corner. So I had a little talk to Harman Lawyers and learnt more about some important paperwork.
My name's Fleur McDonald. I'm from Harman Lawyers and I lead our seniors team here at Harman's.
And what do you want to talk about today?
Well, I thought we might talk about enduring powers of attorney and wills because they're three pretty important documents that everybody should have in their arsenal. They're a bit like personal insurance documents. They're the things that you want to have in the background in case something ever happens, just a wee bit like house insurance.
And what are these three documents you mentioned?
So enduring powers of attorney, there are two kinds, and these are documents that help someone take care of you if you have some kind of serious medical health event like a stroke or that kind of thing. These are the people who are going to be able to make choices and make decisions for you. And if you don't have these documents, unfortunately, you have to go through court. So they're really important. There's two kinds. One's for personal care and welfare, so that's health, wellbeing, medical treatment. Also, if you have something like a stroke and you need full-time residential care, this is the person who's going to be able to do those sorts of things for you. The second document's in relation to property. So when lawyers talk about property, you have to be careful what kind of property we're talking about. So there's real property, that's bricks and mortar. And then there's personal property, which is pretty much everything else that you've got in your name, so bank accounts, investments, utilities, all that sort of thing. So two documents, one for each, and then of course there's your will, which is equally important. So that's your ability to give us instructions after you're gone on what you want to happen with your money. Do you have a will, Scotty?
No, I don't. But I have contemplated getting around to it, but I haven't quite taken the next step. So what would be the next steps for like myself? Like I've thought about it. What do I do next?
Okay, so you need to sort out in your mind what you want to do with what you've got. So have you got a partner or children?
No, thank God.
Okay, so that will cut those sorts of things out. So obviously if you've got, so for me, for example, I have a husband and children, so I have some obligations, things I need to be aware of when I'm doing my will, like I can't just cut all the kids out. Well, I could if I wanted to, but that would create some real problems for the people who are administering my estate later on. So there are some things you need to be aware of, but most important for someone in your situation is just to get down on paper in the right fashion the things that you want to happen if something should happen to you. So if you've got assets and that kind of thing, what you want them to, where do you want them to go? Do you want them to go to siblings, parents, all that kind of thing, because otherwise it's taken out of your hands and dealt with by the courts in relation to what will happen at that point.
Yeah, and can you sort of select a friend, or does it have to be family, or what sort of?
No, you're in a unique situation because you don't have any dependents or anyone that you really have to think of, have to be obliged to, so you can be a little bit more creative about what you choose to do. So you can think about charities, if there's charities that you particularly want to leave something to, friends that you might have, close friends that you particularly want to leave something to, so it doesn't have to be family members. It's really important though that when you're thinking about an attorney for enduring powers of attorney, that you pick someone who's got the right skill set. So often with my clients who are generally a lot older than you, they kind of get stuck in thinking that it has to be the oldest child that they make their attorney because they're the first one. They really need to move away from that, because it needs to be the person, whether it's a child or not, who has the best skill set to help them out with whatever it is that they need to help with. So for medical and wellbeing, you want someone who's going to be empathetic, but who understands what you would want if you were able to speak for yourself. For property, obviously, you want someone who's got a wee bit of nous with money. You don't want someone who's not very good at handling their own finances to all of a sudden be handling your finances. So you really do have to think about the skill set of the people that you want to take on and do these roles for you, because that becomes vital. I mean, if you can't speak and they're doing things for you, you need to have some trust that they're going to be doing the right thing. And you need to have some trust that they're going to do what you want them to do, not necessarily what they would want to do themselves. So it's a really important distinction to make, and a really important thing that you really think through who the attorney is going to be and that they've got the right skill set. That's probably the most important thing you're going to do. The rest of it will follow on.
Yeah. And for people sitting at home that are thinking about this, what's their best next step to do? Best
next step, get in touch with your solicitor. With an enduring power of attorney, you must actually go through that and sign that with either a solicitor, a registered legal executive, or a trustee officer from somewhere like the Public Trust. So it's not something that you could write out on a piece of paper and get a friend to sign. You have to actually go through and have those steps. And the person who witnesses the donor's signature, they actually have to sign a certificate saying they've been through it and they've spoken to the client about it. So it's really important that they go and get some good advice too, because everybody's situation is different, and the documents now can really be tailored to whatever circumstances. So my circumstances with a husband and children are going to be completely different from your circumstances without a husband or children, or a wife even. So you need to be aware of that, and to make sure that when you go in and you speak to whomever you're going to speak to, whether it's someone like the Public Trust or your own solicitor, that you're actually getting really good advice based on your circumstances, so that they can do the best job they can to tailor the documents to what you need. So unfortunately it's not a one-stop shop. And although I believe you can download the documents from websites, etc., you can't actually do them on your own. You do have to go in and have that discussion with your lawyer or a trustee officer. For anyone out there who's listening, that these are really important documents. I don't think people understand really that even if you've been married for 40 years, I think a lot of my seniors get the thought that they've been married for so long, obviously they can speak for their spouse, and unfortunately that's not the case. If they lose the ability to speak, whether it's because of dementia or Alzheimer's or because of a serious medical event, if they haven't sorted out enduring powers of attorney, their family's going to have to go through a court process. It takes more time, it's a lot more expensive, and you don't necessarily get the person that you would have picked for yourself. So it's so important that people think about it and take steps to actually put those documents in place now.
A few weeks ago I caught up with Dan Hodgen from Federated Farmers. He told us what he's been up to for the last few months. Dan, start of the year, how's Federated Farmers going for everything?
Oh, I guess we're still boxing on. There's a fair bit of work going on, but yeah, that's always all go. We've got to keep going, don't we? Keep everyone honest and let us do what we do, I suppose, on the farm.
Yeah, and farming in North Canterbury, obviously things are still not looking that great.
Oh, no, they could be better. We've had a bit of rain now, but it's got cold, of course, and there's two things you need for grass to grow, and one's moisture and one's warmth, and we could seem to be able to get one at any given point, but not the two. It's bloody frustrating, but we'll just deal with it and box on.
And there has been a little bit of rain in the last few months?
There has. It's still dry. I guess there's a couple of inches of sort of mud and slippery shit on top because there's no grass to hold it together, but underneath that there's not much. It's still dry a long way down.
A few weeks ago you managed to sneak on up to the South Island Field Days.
Yeah,
I mean,
National Field Days. Sorry, National Field Days. Yeah, that was an awesome trip. That was great. That was Nick Hamilton's idea to put that together, and I gave him a hand, and we got 100 people away, and just watching the weight lift off shoulders, people smiling, what we haven't seen for a while. It was a hell of a rewarding exercise.
And what kind of things did you get up to up there?
Well, in all honesty, Nick and I spent most of our time talking to your mates in the media and other people, but and sponsors. A fair bit of work for the sponsors, but you know, they'd help us out massively, so we had to do a bit for that. But we had a dinner in Rotorua on the Thursday night, which was a lot of fun. Good MC and laughs and the odd lemonade. I think someone tried to sneak a beer in, but we tried to stop too much of that sort of carry on, but they had a fair bit of fun.
And speaking of media, you've just picked up on an award, I hear.
Yeah, good on you, Scotty. The emerging advocate for Feds nationally, which was a bit of an honour, well, a lot of an honour, I suppose. First time it's been awarded, so that was pretty cool. Yeah, I guess that's for the drought and other bits and pieces with the nutrient stuff we've been doing, dryland farmers and all that sort of thing. But as I said on the night, you know, there's a lot of people helping me with what I'm doing. I couldn't do it. If I was doing it on my own, it'd be a waste of time. So I think that's a recognition of their efforts as well.
And you have set up the Facebook page for the drought if people are still struggling and stuff like that. Yeah,
we have. It was really to get a bit of information out there and a bit of support for people in a place to, I guess, if people wanted to have a bit of event or share ideas. It's grown. All our events are now on there through the Drought Committee. And just tips and ideas and bits and pieces.
Just a few tips and that, if people are struggling out there, what should they do?
Look, if you are struggling, the big thing's to talk and get help. It's the key I've found. If your head's clear, you can carry on. You can deal with decisions no matter how hard they are if your head's in the right place. But small things become a problem if your head's not in the right place, and they'll just mount up and they'll bury you. So it's all about talking to neighbours, talking to friends, Rural Support Trust, you know, free advice, and it's probably worth a lot more than you pay for it as well. Get down and see the doctor if you're really doing it tough. Or if you're worried about someone else really doing it tough, then make those same calls. Because there's a lot of people out there pretty keen to help and prepared to help.
And Federated Farmers looking forward to the end of the year. What's sort of on the cards? Anything exciting?
Yeah, there's a few projects going on, I guess. We're still working through with ECAM with some of their plans. Obviously the drought until that finishes, which will hopefully be about September. Fingers crossed. But yeah, no, still plenty going on. A lot at a national level, sort of trying to influence where they can and really put farmers' viewpoints across, because we're pretty good at not sharing them individually. So that's the power of the organisation.
Even though the times are tough on the farm, it's good to see the farmers getting out and about and having a good time. Stay tuned on Rural New Zealand, because after the break, we're talking winter grazing on a dairy farm. Welcome back to Rural New Zealand. In the winter months, farms can get very muddy and turn into a bit of a bog, but we caught up with one farmer who's doing the right things to eliminate this on his farm.
Basically here, this is a support block. We've got, it's about 145 hectares. Yeah, we grow 50 hectares, including some on the dairy farm, of fodder beet each year, and yeah, we winter all the cows, about 2,000 cows here.
Why do you choose to grow fodder beet over other crops?
Basically the friendliness of it in terms of, well, to feed all the cows. You know, we've got 2,000 cows and we just don't have the area to feed them. You know, fodder beet, we find the utilisation is fantastic, and just the tonnage you can get off it is, you know, it just fits our system magnificently. And
obviously in the winter months it gets quite wet. How do you get on with pasture pugging and stuff like that?
Well, we try and manage it that, you know, we back fence the cows just to minimise the walking and any damage, so they can't go back over what's been grazed. You know, we'll cultivate it as soon as we can, just to let it drain.
And is there much of a yearly rotation with different paddocks you select for the crop you're going to grow?
Yeah, basically here we're on a 3-year rotation, so it's sort of every 3 to 4 years the paddock goes from, it's just fodder beet, grass, fodder beet, so it seems to work well.
Are you feeding the cows any supplement feeds?
Yeah, early on with the fodder beet, it's quite important to give them a high amount of supplement, so we feed quite a bit of baleage early on, but we find after about, you know, sort of 5 weeks we can pull the supplement back pretty much to nothing if need be. It just depends on the weather and you know, how much yield there is with the fodder beet and how much supplement we have on hand as to what works best season by season.
And with the feeders, do you shift them around and stuff like that?
Yeah, the feeders, it's really important that they get shifted every day, just to minimise any straw or baleage in the soil and minimise soil compaction. Yeah, they've got to be, that's something that's done on a daily basis, really important. Find you know, smaller mobs, the cows do better, and you know, better for the soil, and you know, minimising compaction. You know, we try to work in mobs of between 160 and 180 cows. Potentially a few more fences to shift, but you know, it's a lot better for the soil structure and you know, and getting the weight on the cows. What we try and do to get the benefits and minimise leaching of the nitrates in the soil, will grow as soon as the cows have finished, or you know, part way through paddock, we pretty much chase them out with a grubber and get oats in the ground, weather permitting, and just find that the oats, being such a vigorously growing plant, you know, it uptakes the nitrogen, you know, really well, and like we'll grow sort of 4 to 6 tonne crops of oats with no fertiliser. It's just grabbing the nutrients that the cows have left in the soil, which is it's a huge benefit. In severe weather, we'll run the cows off onto a standoff pads where we can feed a bit of supplement on there, and basically just to get them off out of the mud and just minimise that soil compaction. I mean, it's pretty hard to do with cows, but I mean, for us, cow health, is important, and so we'll run them off onto hard standoff pads by trees, and they can sleep on dry ground and get back, and basically we'll just let them on to eat their fodder beet and run them off again.
It's great to see farmers out there using simple techniques to benefit their farms for the long run. Well, that's us for this week on Rural New Zealand. I certainly hope you enjoyed the show. Just remember to give us a like on Facebook, and if you have missed an episode, you can watch it on demand. Catch you guys next week when we're kidding around and acting the goat on a small block in North Canterbury. So join us next week on Rural New Zealand, where we're going to hear some more terrible goat puns. See you guys then.